Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Hello, Abby.
Hi,
Welcome.
thank you for having me.
So you're talking about Neolithic petroglyphs, earthworks, and hill carvings.
Yeah, I sent you like a Google Doc with pictures of all my
Oh.
favorites, but I think I could also maybe share my screen. I don't know.
Yes, you can share
I'd
your
like
screen.
to show people some of my favorites. But we could also talk about them if like we can't figure it out.
Yeah, you should definitely be able to share your screen.
Okay, let's do it.
It's been a screen sharing kind of night.
hmm Yeah, that was nice hearing all about Love Island. I
Yeah?
didn't know that.
Well, you've been playing chess on your iPhone.
Yeah, I was thinking about maybe next week doing a segment of playing chess against the computer together.
That would be great.
That might be fun. Yeah.
Sound off in the chat if you'd like to see Abby play chess. All right, go ahead.
Okay. Well, I thought that, you know, people might be interested in petroglyphs, geoglyphs, and earthworks. Um, so a petroglyph is like carving into rock. A geoglyph is carving into the ground, and earthworks are when you like build up material on top of the ground. These are just some very basic, things in life that people have been doing for a long time. And I think they're really interesting because, like, it's just like it's a huge, huge undertaking, especially when you don't have like airplanes or satellites. But people have been doing them for a really long time, like way before there was airplanes and satellites, which I think is really cool. And people have a lot of ideas about like why people were doing them. But I think it's pretty obvious. And maybe by the end of this presentation, you'll think it's pretty obvious too. If I zoom in, does it show up bigger?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm starting off with my favorite geoglyph, which is the hill. There's hill figures in England, um, which is what it's called when they'd carve into the hills that usually are chalky limestone underneath the grass. Like it's pretty shallow under there, and then they just put the crushed up limestone like back and like press it back down into this white shape. And this is a horse. Some people think it looks like a tiger or like a large cat of some kind, but I think it's pretty obviously a horse, just energetically. This is from the Iron Age, and I think it's pretty interesting because this is one of the petroglyphs that's had like uninterrupted, like the same like people culture has been like with it more or less since it was created. Um,
That's crazy to imagine.
yeah, and it's just pretty huge, kind of, and it's just like made to be looked up from above. So kind of cool. I wanted to show this other one. It's a little rude, but this is like a giant. I can't remember the name. It's like Cernavus giant. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. But this one's actually not prehistoric. It's from like the 1700s. Someone just like got a little crazy. Some people think it was like a hoax and like a parody of Oliver Cromwell because it was during like the English Civil War that this was first documented. And like, yeah, people are like, we're not really sure if it was real, but like, there's no documentation of this existing up until the 1700s. So they think it like wasn't there before then, and people like don't really remember it being there before then. So it just goes to show it's like you can't always like just because it's in like a style that looks kind of old school, you can't always tell. There's a lot of hoaxes out there, and you just got to stay on your toes when you're looking at petroglyphs and geoglyphs. This has been like one of my favorites for a really long time.
Wow.
It is the Serpent's Mound. It's in Ohio. I'm like really dying to go see it someday.
Wow. How do
Yeah,
you do that?
I don't know. I don't know how they do it.
It's incredible.
Yeah. People say that like this is lined up where like the mouth of the serpent is like somehow lined up with the solar, like the summer solstice. I don't really know what that means in the context of it, but that like there's a lot of like solar and lunar calendars that like somehow like are represented on it, which is really cool.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was made, so people think that it was like made in the 300s and then like renovated in the 900 AD. So like renovated like 1,000 years after it was made. Um,
Wow.
yeah.
That's very cool. There's so many things implication in like the idea of that people were taking care of it 1,000 years later is such a cool thing to think about.
Yeah. It's like some people will think that like it's a burial mound, but that I like don't like that idea because I think it's like pretty clearly like it's a calendar, like has this other thing, and also like it's not all mounds and earthworks are burial mounds. Like it was just maybe it was just like people who were alive hanging out and making something cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's up next?
This is well, guess what kind of animal this is?
It's a bird.
Yeah. Good guess. It's a bird. It's a hummingbird. This is one of the Nazca lines.
Wow.
And it's in the desert of Peru. And I think these are like super cool and like artistic and beautiful.
Yeah, that's so detailed.
Yeah. And so I think it's like this is a place that's like been a desert for a pretty long time. Um, so these people were just hanging out in the desert and they were like, bird. And this is what I was really excited to show you because they like it was uncovered like a year ago, and it's a huge cat.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah, I love that. It
That's
looks
so
like
nice.
Frankie to me.
It kind of does, doesn't it? I love the
Yeah,
little tail.
yeah. I'm not sure what this is.
Yeah, it's very because there's not really any. Well, maybe it has spots and then a stripe on its tail, like it's a
Yeah,
specific cat.
yeah. Maybe it's a specific cat. Maybe it was somebody's cat.
Yeah.
Or like, I love my cat so much. Little face.
Definitely like it's a mushroom liker.
Uh-huh.
Pira says it's a comb for combing the cat.
Oh, yeah, yeah, could be, could be. Yeah, it's just nice to look at and nice to know that like people like they were just like it's kind of in the area of these other Nazca lands, but they like just found it.
Wow.
Kind of cool. There's still people encountering these things, and this is just like my number one petroglyph, and it's really detailed and super beautiful. Just a giraffe.
Oh
But
wow.
the cool thing about this is that it's in the Tenere Desert, which is like way in the middle of Niger and northern Africa, like in the Sahara kind of area, which is like obviously there aren't really any giraffes living there now because it's way too desert for them and they like a savanna. So this is like from when that area used to be a savanna
Wow.
before the like current period of the Sahara began. So like pretty deep Stone Age times.
Wow. 10,000 years old.
Yeah, and there was just like people who were doing cool art then, and yeah, those are all kind of my favorite ones.
They're incredible.
Yeah.
What what are some good questions about these? How did I don't know. Tell me more. What do you love about these?
I think what I love about these is that like I think people are like really quick to come up with ideas of like they were like for deities or like offerings to like the people and or like sky or like whatever. And it's like first of all, like we don't know a whole lot about like any of these cultures really because it's just like a long time ago in terms of like necessarily like what specifically deities was going on. Um, that's my like I don't know, like maybe it was for like sky gods and deities, but I think also it could just be that like you know how they did the hi
How they did the what?
you know how they did that thing they shot into space. Um, that was like they had like these records of like the Beatles
Oh
and
yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah, or like what and like had all in like a bunch of languages of like hello, like we are peaceful, which is just fucking bullshit, first of all. Um, but just like the idea that like we're just gonna like put so much effort into like putting this out there because we don't know what's going on up there. And maybe someone will look and we want them to get a kick out of it. Um, like I'm not trying to be like ancient aliens, but I think it's just like the idea of like there's like a lot going on up there that's mysterious to us.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean,
so
I
we
also
yeah.
I think all the ancient alien stuff really doesn't take into account how I don't know, like people a very long time ago when there wasn't, the kind of civilization that we imagine. Imagine the like pure ambition and just creative drive to be like witnessing the stars without buildings around you. I don't know. Like I can't imagine how inspiring like a kind of blank canvas of a world must be like, you
Yeah,
know?
and like I think that's like something that I really feel when I see these is that like people who like lived all this years before us like had ambition and creative drive that like we get to see and like is kind of a way of communicating through time.
Yeah. Oh my god, Frankie. But like, yeah, exactly. And I don't know, like someone who first sort of has a cat in their life that they like, Or that I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't imagine being like an early cat lover before
Uh-huh.
there's any way to talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, people were like finding ways to talk about it. I think that like yeah, or whatever like people project backwards onto the past of like these people who came before us were just like interested in like survival or like had a really like narrow view of the world when like obviously that's not true. When you look at these, that's not true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially that giraffe is so incredible.
Yeah, I really like all of the details on it.
It's like a truly studied work.
That's like someone who was really close to a giraffe.
Hmm.
The artist was like, yeah, I know all about the giraffes.
It's also that's so amazing because it's not like photographic, but it's so like that is what a giraffe looks like. Whereas so many sort of old depictions of animals, you're
Mhm.
like they didn't see a lion, did they? That's what that looks like to them in
Yeah,
Europe.
like
Yeah.
in Europe, and they were just drawing like weird dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I have a
So sick.
question, which is if you were gonna make an enormous earthwork, geoglyph or petroglyph, what would you make and why?
Oh,
And this could also be answered by people in the chat if they would like.
yeah. Please sound off in the chat. I'll read what you guys say. I. Hmm. Hmm. Oh, it's so hard to imagine. I love the earthworks where it's like the one with that's like the calendar where it's raised. I would want it to be like that for sure. I want to learn how to do that.
Mhm.
Um. Hmm. I'm gonna have to think about that. That's
Yeah.
such a because I don't wanna just do something silly. Maybe I'd do an oxbow
Oh, why?
because it's something that I love that's near me.
Hmm.
which I feel like a lot of these things are. Like the medium of a petroglyph or an earthwork, it feels like it's like you put something that you see in your life that you care about. You're not doing something that you kind of made up or something celestial. Like you're trying to communicate something about you that you care about, you know? Maybe.
Yeah.
What would you do?
Well, yeah, it's like I don't have an answer that's at the tip of my tongue because I feel like you have to really want to do it, like because that's like you and like as many of your friends as you can convince to do it for like probably at least a year working on it, figuring it out.
Oh yeah.
Also, like so much like the shit with the drafts, like that was like before people had figured out like metal, so they were probably just like hitting like flint into sandstone,
Yeah.
like softer rock of that, which probably just like fucking took forever.
To be so detailed too.
Uh,
Ugh.
yeah, so I don't know what yeah, it's like the most, I guess, the most important and the most lasting communication with the world around you and above you and the world that's going to come generations from you, that you can have. So it doesn't feel like something I even know right now in this phase of my life.
Yeah, that's a good answer.
Are people having ideas in the chat?
No one has put anything in there. Oh, someone said, oh, Charlotte says that she'd do a cloud.
Whoa.
I like
I
that.
like that.
Imagine making something look fluffy.
Hmm. Yeah. It's like whatever's in the sky. You're like, I can do that.
Yeah.
It's kind
The idea of looking down and looking up and looking down. I don't know.
of, yeah.
Love the idea of a cloud, but it's on the ground. Yeah. Hmm.
Maybe a ship or like a
Oh,
whale. Oh, I'd do a whale, maybe.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I bought a really fancy copy of Moby Dick today.
Yeah?
Yeah,
How fancy? What's it look like?
I'll show you.
Okay. I'll zoom everybody in so they can see it.
Maybe I'll talk about Moby Dick sometime soon, but it was just at
Wow.
the store. It was like $30. So I was like, I will buy myself a nice thing. But it's got like gold
That's beautiful.
edges and it's got pictures. Like acid-free paper.
Wow.
Really great font.
Oh, that's beautiful. It's like a wood cutting.
Yeah,
Wow.
really nice. Yeah, I think you know what I would do? I would do a whale, and then if like Western Massachusetts becomes desertified, and then people like are like hanging out in the desert after that, and then they're like, "What the fuck is that?"
Wow, yeah.
The ocean for that to like really feel confusing. But maybe not someday.
Yeah. Maybe someday there will only be ocean again. Was there ever only ocean? Pangea? Mostly
Probably at
ocean.
some point, maybe.
I don't know. That's something else that I need to read into.
Hmm.
What happened when the earth started. I learned
Yeah,
it in college, but it's not something that you really think about very often.
yeah, it's very humbling. It's very scary as well.
Charlotte says, heard of Noah? True.
The guy.
Yeah, the earth was all
Yeah,
water.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. That's scary.
Yeah, that was definitely very scary.
Yeah.
All right, Abby, you have 1 minute left. Do you have any final thoughts?
Um, I would just say that I really hope that we keep getting to be connected to um, these artists in the past by enjoying their big projects, um, and think about them when we make art projects too.
Beautiful.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being on. What a beautiful presentation. You can log off whenever you're ready, Abby. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.